Hey guys, welcome back. This is Daryl Aviator 267. You're watching a very special edition of MojoGrip mic. Due to the global COVID-19 pandemic, we're not allowed to travel, and there's a lot of social distancing going on, so we don't get much time to go out to the air shows, or we're not allowed to go to air shows. So Mike has asked us from all around the world to share videos of our aircraft, and we're happy to share one of his favorite aircraft, actually, the Italian designed and built Blackshape Prime. For those of you following my channel, you'll know that this is a very special aircraft to me. Melanie, my wife, bought me this aircraft in 2018. We took delivery in 2019. We've flown about 100 hours on this aircraft right now. So guys, we're going to take you through the pre-flight inspection, starting with the cockpit inspection, and then we're going to go to the walk-around. So as we approach the aircraft, generally we do the inspection from on top of the wing, starting up by taking a look at the canopy and opening up the canopy with the door handle here, similar to your flush style door handles you find in your high-end cars like Aston Martin, for example. Pushing in one end, and that will release the canopy hinge. As we open up the canopy, we take a look at the general condition, looking for any damage, any cracks. We climb up on top of the wing and we do our pre-flight internal inspection, starting out with the front seat, which is the pilot seat. We use an airline standard flow pattern because, of course, we use this aircraft for advanced training and transitioning, and we like to teach or prepare the pilots for their transition into the airlines. We start out with the lateral panel on the left hand side and we engage the park brake, applying brake pressure, locking the valve, and we have the park brake set. We then go and check full and free movement of the propeller lever to the course position and full fine, as well as the throttle full forward and set to an idle position. Have a look at the gear selector and make sure it's in the down position. Then move on to the choke and the carb heat and make sure that they are in. Transitioning over to the flap selector or the fly box, which controls the flaps, and we make sure it's in the auto position. At this point we turn on our EFIS panels and we use the internal batteries. The internal batteries on the EFIS panels serve for two purposes. This will be for the standby, and we power up our standby, and then we power up our 10-inch Dynon Skyview Touch. As mentioned, these internal batteries serve to protect the avionics during the engine start, so we make sure that they are on for start before we turn on the main battery. And also in the event of a total electrical loss on the aircraft, the internal batteries in the Skyview and in the AvMap are able to power up their respective displays for approximately 45 minutes. If we were to lose the Dynon screen, which is primarily used for navigation and flight guidance, we do have artificial horizon available on the AvMap, as well as lateral navigation on an HSI, so we can fly purely a sole reference, both navigation and flight, with our standby AvMap. On the Dynon screen for the pre-flight, we always have the full EMS page on display, and that allows us to check in detail the technical serviceability of the aircraft, including flight hours remaining, fuel status, and more importantly, equally important, the battery voltage as well. And we've got 13 volts on the battery, minimum 12 volts for start. We move over to the COM and the audio panel with our flow and make sure that the knob control selector is in the 12 o'clock position. Next to that is the ELT, and we ensure that that is in the arm position. And then continuing down, we have a cabin heat, which draws air from the oil cooler, and that brings warm air into the engine. We don't use exhaust hot air from the exhaust shroud. Coming on to the main electrical switches, we turn on the battery, and that powers up or sends power to the rest of the aircraft. well as the lights, nav, strobe and taxi light for the walk around. We also ensure now with the flow that our circuit breakers are all in, nothing is tripped during the power up, and then we come across to the central panel where we have our fuel selector at this point on the right tank. Underneath we also have emergency gear extension levers which allow the gear to free fall in the event of a gear failure. So we check that they are in the stowed position, and then finally we have a look at our fire extinguisher and make sure that it is serviceable and secure. At this point we're done with the front or the pilot's internal inspection, and we move to the rear and we take a look in the rear, starting on top, making sure that the pilot's display 7-inch Dynon screen is functioning, and then we move down to the lateral panel, checking throttles, and you can see them moving as well in coordination with the front propeller in the course position and then back into the fine, and of course the brake activation. With the interior inspection, we move to the exterior walk around. We start on the upper surface where we do a lot of climbing in and out of the aircraft. We make sure that there's no scuff marks on the leading edge. Following underneath, we take a fuel sample from our drain point, and then we have a look at the main gear. Moving over to the pitot tube, checking the cover has been removed. Up on top, have a look at the fuel cap, that it's secure. In our fuel cap we can carry 100 liters of fuel, 50 liters on either side. That gives us a total of about 5 hours endurance. Typical cruise speed on this aircraft is going to be 135 knots. Coming to the edge of the wing, taking a look at the navigation light and the strobes are functional. Ailerons full and free. And then our flaps. These are special flaps, double slotted flaps, sometimes confused with Fowler flaps. They allow this aircraft to have a landing configuration stall of 44 knots. Coming across to our static port, making sure that it's clean, no blockages. The rear part of the empennage, full and free travel on our elevators, and our trim tab is in the neutral position for the walk around. We've got the rear position light and strobe housed in the tail. At this point we have an opportunity now to take a look at the engine as part of the walk around. We've got the latches that release a bolt that holds the cowling down. This is the Rotax 912 100 horsepower ULS engine. Very unique to the Rotax style of engines. We have liquid cooled cylinder heads. Instead of magnetos, we're fitted with dual ignition coils or dual ignition packs, similar to the coil packs on a motorcycle. The dual carburetors on the right hand side for the right hand cylinders and the left hand cylinders. They're constant depression carburetors, which negates the need for having a mixture control on our aircraft. The fuel air mixture ratio is controlled internally in the carburetor. Or attached to the engine is the gearbox with a 2.4 to 1 reduction ratio. So the engine is actually upper limit of 5,800 horsepower or 5,800 RPM. Through the gearbox is reduced down to about 2,400, 2,200 RPM. We've got a hydraulic governor installed instead of the more common electronic control units which now control the blades. We use the conventional hydraulic system which uses oil from the engine. And of course this aircraft is fitted with a dry sump, another unique feature to the Rotax engine, containing all the 3 liters of oil required to run this engine. That completes our walk around, and from this point we jump in and get ready for the flight.
Today's video is brought to you by Preflight. Preflight is perhaps the most important tool that you need for your aircraft maintenance. Think of it as a one-stop shop to schedule your maintenance, coordinate with your AP mechanic, and keep proper records of everything. Preflight also has some cool features like keeping digital records of your logbook and a built-in scheduler for multiple partners who may share the same aircraft. The best part about Preflight is that everything is done by the tip of your fingers. You can get started using Preflight today absolutely free. When you use the coupon code MojoGrip, you can get started today for 30 days absolutely free. Check out Preflight.com or use the link in the description below.